The C-130 is by far one of the most reliable aircraft of all time. It has been used since its first flight in 1954, 65 years ago, and is still used today. There have been more than 40 variants of this aircraft, and they operate within 60 nations around the world. On December 9, 2019, a Chilean Air Force Lockheed C-130 Hercules military transport aircraft crashed in the Drake Passage while en route to a Chilean military base, Presidente Eduardo Frei Montalva, on King George Island in Antarctica. The aircraft departed Punta Arenas, Chile, at 16:55 local time, bound for King George Island, Antarctica. The flight was intended to provide logistical support to a base in Chilean Antarctic territory and to bring personnel to check a floating fuel supply line and other equipment at the base. The Chilean Air Force flies the Punta Arenas to King George Island route on a monthly basis. Radio contact with the plane was lost at 6:13 p.m. Officials have stated that the aircraft must have crashed given how long it had been missing. The military aircraft disappeared over a stretch of sea between South America and Antarctica on Monday evening, a little over an hour after taking off from a base in Punta Arenas, Chile. After a 3-day search, the crash site was located, but no survivors were found. The crash site was located just off the coast of South America on 12th, 17 miles from the C-130's last known position. The aircraft fuselage and main components were identified, along with human remains. Chilean Air Force Chief Arturo Moreno confirmed that everybody on board was killed. One day into the search, debris from the aircraft was found floating in the sea some 19 miles from the last known position of the missing aircraft. Debris and personnel items were recovered by a Brazilian Navy polar research ship. This photo, released by the Chilean Air Force on December 11th, shows a satellite image of an area in the Drake Passage where debris was found, believed to be from the missing C-130 Hercules plane. This piece of debris, allegedly from the C-130, was found in the Drake Passage by another research ship called the Antarctic Endeavour. The aircraft had 38 passengers on board, 21 passengers and 17 crewmen. 15 passengers were Chilean Air Force servicemen, 3 were Chilean soldiers, 2 were civilians employed by the Improser engineering and construction firm, and 1 was a university student from the University of Magallanes. The crew was composed entirely of Chilean Air Force personnel. And well, the sad news in all of this is that the aircraft was just 1 hour from its final destination. Unfortunately, it did not reach its destination. The upcoming weeks and months, years, hopefully it won't be too long to conclude what actually happened to this aircraft and this terrible tragedy. All right, to sum this up, this whole video, kind of like my thoughts on it. I personally feel that either a major failure happened, one, so, midair, like the engine falls off, the wing breaks apart, the fuselage, cracks, and there's a massive catastrophe, more or less, and the pilots literally had no time to radio. That's one of my opinions why they did not radio the air traffic controllers back in Punta Arenas. Number 2, something that was happening to the plane that was so time-oriented, like extreme high stress level. I'm trying to think of something that I could describe it as. Maybe even, let's say, the plane just kind of veering down, right? So not a steep dive, but let's say it's just like constantly going down. Either you're trying to, hey, what's going on? Here's a situation, but you're just constantly stressed. You have literally no time to talk to the air traffic controllers, so you have to put all your time dedicated to this problem. That, I think, number 2, that could have been something like that. No fuel, or just some random kind of like really weird circumstance that the pilots have to really think, and obviously, sadly enough, they could not figure out the problem, if they even could fix the problem. Number 3, it could be a communication loss. Not likely. I want to point out one thing about the radar contact. So the radar contact was lost around, I forgot what they said, I think 6:16 p.m. or something like that. If I'm right. Sorry if I'm wrong, I can't remember. Where's it at? Anyways, the radar contact was lost. That doesn't mean they're being controlled necessarily off of the radar. So there's like a radar, there's a big radar in Punta Arenas, right, and other cities, right, that are very far south. All those radars, you know, have a big span, so they can go 100 nautical miles or 200 nautical miles, or even think up to 300 or 400 nautical miles, possibly. It's really big, but so these long-range radars can pick up aircraft and whatever's in the sky, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the people that are looking at the radar are controlling that aircraft. And they control from the McMurdo base. So the plane takes off from Christchurch, New Zealand. Once it takes off, it's in Christchurch control for, you know, X amount of time. Once they reach a certain point, they hand over control to the McMurdo controller, who is in McMurdo Station during the summer. During the winter, it's a little different. They're actually in Charleston, South Carolina, controlling the aircraft that's flying from New Zealand to McMurdo Station. I can explain that in another video. It's very interesting and very cool. That's how it works in McMurdo, so it's totally different. So if they're on radar contact, yeah, the radar reports, hey, here's this little guy coming along. When it loses contact, it notes. It's in the software to note, hey, you know, this one's gone. Oh, this one comes in. This one's gone. This one's in. So it noted when it was gone. Most generally, when you lose radar contact, the plane is pretty low already. Yeah. So those are my three, or I guess my three opinions. What could have gone wrong? The first one being a major catastrophe. The second one being something so stressful that the pilots literally had no time to make radio contact. And the third one, they could have lost radio contact and then had a problem. So unfortunately, this is a terrible event to happen. It really hurts the whole Antarctic community. So all the people that go down there, I mean, they do the same thing. They fly from wherever, you know, New Zealand, you know, Chile, or not Chile, Punta Arenas, where they boat, you know, down there. But they fly one way or another to get to Antarctica. So this affects all those people that have been there, have done it, and have been on all the programs. The Air Force, the U.S. Air Force flies the C-17. All the people that fly on those, they think about, I mean, they're seeing this, they see all that. And the people that also fly the C-130s for the U.S. Air Force, they go down there as well. So this really affects a lot of people. It's a really tight-knit community, so everybody is, you know, it's one big family. It really affects everybody. I will keep looking into this and see if I can find any more news that comes up and let you guys know kind of my insight and what's been going on. All I can say is luckily there's actually been, you know, some closure so far. They have found some of the wreckage and unfortunately some of the bodies. I also want to wish a warm holiday and just a happy new year to everyone. I really want everybody to cherish the time they have with the ones they love, because that's such a small thing to do. Like, you don't think about it really. You're living life every day. You're like, yep, wake up tomorrow, we do this. You have this plan, and then boom, the aircraft crashes. I mean, that's not even, you can't even plan for that. So I mean, you really need to cherish. I really think everybody should cherish the time with their family, with their friends, their loved ones. Don't be mean. Don't be rude. There's no need for that. I mean, just respect everyone. Treat everybody as you would want to be treated, and live your life. Be happy. You know, don't dwell on the small things. Enjoy life.